Trail talk time. Out on another beauty of a trail. Breathing in that fresh chi. Got the breeze a flowing, sunshine a glowing. Feeling great today. And I wanted to talk about, the middle way today. In my last video, I was speaking about, using your willpower and staying away from overindulging in things that are, maybe bringing you some short-term pleasure, but they might not be serving you in the long run. And I ended the video by saying, everything needs a balance as well, which is so true. And it made me think of the story of the Buddha. I remember reading the story of his life and what initially started him on his path to enlightenment. And he was, in a very rich family, and he was kind of cut off from the rest of society. And when he caught a glimpse of what was happening outside of his walls, of people suffering who were hungry and who didn't have, the wealth that he had, he felt their suffering. He felt that within himself, and he wondered why people were suffering like that, because he had never experienced anything like that. And it made him very curious about suffering, and he wanted to go experience life and be with people and learn more about suffering and how to end it. He didn't like to see people suffering. And on his quest to, find some sort of enlightenment for himself, he was partaking in all of these different paths. And many were, cutting yourself off sort of thing from the physical needs and urges and everything. And he would be meditating with certain yogis for like days on end and depriving himself of food and water. And it got to the point where it wasn't good for his health anymore, right? It wasn't healthy. He was starting to go too overboard in that direction. And after trying all of these things, he realized that, there was a balance, there was a moderation that was needed. You can find so much beauty. You can access certain realms of consciousness by doing those practices of meditation and of fasting and everything like that. Going beyond those physical needs and urges that we have, and sort of testing yourself in those ways. But I think it's all about balance as well, right? And so I just wanted to touch on that topic. I was speaking about food in my last video. And while it might not be the best thing to be overindulging all the time in certain foods that aren't exactly the healthiest for you, you might not be eating them just for, health purposes. But once in a while, if you'd like to indulge in these things for your enjoyment, then I think that's a beautiful thing. We need to enjoy our lives, and it's okay to enjoy those things for pleasure once in a while, or else you might get to the point where your practice, whatever you're trying to achieve or your goals, it might become so stressful for you that you're not actually enjoying your life anymore. And when it comes to that point, you might have to ask yourself, is it really worth it? Is it really worth all of this pain to put myself through all of it just to try and achieve something at the end when I'm not enjoying the process at all? So it goes hand in hand with my message in my last video, right? Sometimes you do need to, test out that willpower and, test your patience. Patience is meaning, long suffering, and you might have to endure some pain along the path to your goals or whatever it is that you want to achieve or see in your life. But at the same time, it's good to to balance it out, right? Even people who are dieting, a lot of people use a cheat day once in a while, right? Let's say once a week they have a cheat day where they can, break their diet, whatever they're trying, and they can indulge in other foods that they used to eat or that they like that aren't really part of that diet or regimen. I think that's a healthy way to do it, Set yourself up with a balanced system so that you're not feeling like, oh, I can't even enjoy my life anymore. I can't enjoy food. I can't enjoy this or that. And it's not really about that, right? It's amazing to, want to improve yourself, improve your health or whatever in your life. But I don't think it has to cost you your happiness or your joy. I think there's definitely a delicate balance to all of life. And I was so inspired by, the story of the Buddha and his path in trial and error, just trying these things and seeing what's worked for him, right? Because maybe for some people, like those yogis he was learning under, maybe that works for them, right? Maybe they just spend all of this time meditating and fasting and all of these things and not really taking care of their body as much, let's say. And maybe that's how they find their enjoyment. That's what works for them. And so you really have to listen to your own guidance, your internal guidance, and find out what works best for you. And I think that's just what it is. It's trial and error, right? If you wish to change your life or change yourself in some way, then you can just start with something small and start to incorporate new practices or, change your routine a little bit here and there and see how it works for you. And you don't have to go completely overboard and jump into something fully if you might not be ready for that. And that's what's really helped me in my life, right? Like remembering that balance. I've changed my diet many times throughout these last 10 years. And it's just been playing with it, right? Tweaking things. And I always tell people, if you're gonna embark on different diets, then start slowly. If you want to start getting rid of things in your diet, then do it slowly, right? Start to cut out certain things once in a while. It might be just having it a few times throughout the week instead of every single day or something like that, right? And then we can find, a gradual change in our lives, and we don't have to really shock our system or go completely overboard one way or the other. We can do things in a balanced way. And I used another example of working out last time, right? Again, there's a balance. If you're overworking your body, you're overworking yourself, then you're gonna actually burn out your energy too much, and you actually need time to rest and to heal. And so everything in life is like that, right? I spoke about sex and our, sexual energy and our sexual urges. And that's a big one, right? That's our life force energy. And I believe strongly that so many, people are frivolously wasting this energy all the time on this planet. But at the same time, we don't have to be celibate or anything like that. I think there's a balance and a moderation in all things in life. And again, it's all up to you, right? You get to choose and you get to see what works for you. For some people, they might become a monk or a nun or something like that, and they choose that path of celibacy, and they'll see if it works for them or not. We definitely see so many times in religious groups that maybe that's a reason why things start to go so negatively, and we see so much nasty activity going on with people in churches and with children and everything like that, because people still do have those desires within them. And so we have to learn how to work with them in a healthy way, right? It all has to be done in a healthy way. So yeah, that's all I wanted to share for today. I hope it was helpful. Just some things that have helped me along my journey, right? It's like everything in life has this beautiful, delicate balance, and if we can find that tuning within our lives, what works for us, and make those small adjustments, then we'll find that sweet spot. And that's when you're just you're really feeling so good about life, when you're in that beautiful balance, when everything's balanced and in coherence, right? And I believe that in all of those areas and every other area in our lives, that's what it takes. It just takes a little bit of fine tuning sometimes, and we can see, just observe ourselves and see, am I going maybe a bit too far one way or the other, and kind of bring it back to the center. And it's quite a quite a challenge sometimes, but what's life without a good challenge, right? So that's the challenge that I propose to anyone watching. If you want to achieve anything in your life, you can definitely do it. Just takes a little bit of observation and trial and error, and believe in yourself that you can do anything. And I hope that this has been inspiring, because I was so inspired by the story of the Buddha, and I'm going to share some more about Buddhism in the future. Well, that's all I want to share for today. Hope everyone has an amazing day. Peace and limitless love.